Hey there survivors, how's it going? I'm your host Douglas here at Drumboy Productions, bringing you another Trick or Treat Studios product review. And the game is finally over because today we're taking a look at the final piece from Saw. Today we're going to be continuing our journey taking a look at many different Trick or Treat Studios masks and products this season by taking a look at another piece from Saw, and in my opinion, this has to be one of the coolest pieces Trick or Treat Studios has to offer. Trick or Treat Studios has offered a pretty wide array of different Saw collectibles for many years now, ranging from masks, costumes, toys, new stuff, old stuff, and of course, dolls. And today, we're talking about a very special doll indeed. I'm happy to announce that today we're going to be taking a look at the Billy puppet from Saw. In a previous video, I mentioned that Saw has a ton of iconic imagery, whether it be the Jigsaw killer wearing the pig mask, or of course, any of the traps. In particular, the bear trap, of course, is the most popular. But I think out of any piece of imagery in the Saw franchise, none is more iconic than the Billy puppet. Now, as far as being notable, I think that would have to go to any of the Saw posters. Some of the early films are pretty tame and pretty on the money with what you're getting yourself into, but some of the later movies, those posters just get really crazy. But one little character you don't see on the posters too often is Billy. But still, like I said, Billy's gotta be the most iconic piece of imagery from the Saw franchise. When most people mention Jigsaw, typically they're talking about the puppet a lot of the times. And I feel like it mostly goes without saying, but personally, I would say that Billy is the most iconic piece of imagery in the entire franchise. The look of the doll itself is incredibly creepy. Hearing Tobin Bell's voice coming out of the doll is even creepier. And then, of course, you have that laugh. That iconic, terrifying laugh. With all of the context removed, this is a super creepy doll design, but with all the context present and how important Billy is to the franchise, it really makes it that much creepier and also just a little bit more interesting. I'm not going to go into the history here. If you're interested, you can watch the films, and I strongly recommend you do. But we're going to go ahead and talk about the design of what we have here overall. At a glance, overall, I think this thing looks pretty awesome and pretty spot on. Billy really is a pretty simple puppet, and I think that lends itself very well to being something that can be replicated as we see here. His white gloves paired with the full suit and his lovely little red shoes here means that it's pretty easy to put the body together for this. You don't have to worry about any crazy details sculpting wise or having any kind of flesh exposed or anything. So for the most part, the body underneath could look like whatever, and it doesn't matter because he's going to be entirely clothed. Just to break down the construction of the full doll, he pretty much has a polyfoam body with some armature inside to give him some posability. He's not completely posable like the Pennywise doll that we took a look at, but he still has a little bit of posability to him. So then the main focus for details and sculpture really does come down to the head, which I guess we'll go ahead and take a look at first. Overall, it's not a terrible sculpt, but personally, it does feel a little bit off. Just looking at the face, it looks a little off. It's also worth noting that the head here is like cast in latex and foam filled, so this is something you would want to watch out for putting in any kind of heat, direct sunlight, anything like that. The face should still be treated with the same care as a latex mask. And also, it feels like his hands are latex cast as well, but completely hollow. And lifting up the glove here, it does look like he has entirely sculpted rubber hands, which is very odd. I would almost think that this would be kind of like the Pennywise one where he has foam hands that are articulated as well, but instead, just cast latex hands, meaning there's not going to be too much posability in the fingertips. Completely hollow latex hands was kind of a weird call on this, especially since one of the things you see the Billy puppet doing the most is riding a tricycle. And of course, most people who are going to pick up one of these are going to try to find one of those red tricycles as well. We do have one here at the Lucky Rabbit for him to ride, but not being able to pose those hands means his fingers can't really wrap around the handlebars too well. And as far as the posability overall, he does feel pretty stiff. It doesn't feel like it has the same level of articulation as Pennywise, and he feels like he's constructed in such a way that he's definitely intended to be seated rather than standing or even leaning. So I guess that pretty much covers him sculpturally, body, hands, and head. Now let's go ahead and talk about, I guess, paint finishing next. I think the paint application on the face is pretty well done. The spirals on the cheeks are honestly a little thicker than necessary, I think, and a little bit too messy. Don't get me wrong, Jigsaw did not paint them on completely perfect. They're not absolutely perfect swirls, but these do look a little bit thicker and messier than they really should be. The paint on the lips looks okay, nothing too offensive there, and then the eyes themselves actually look really, really nice. They're nice and round, it's not messy. It looks like it was handled very well. I'm a little bit shocked they maybe didn't gloss them a bit more, but still, that's just nitpicking. And of course, as for like the off-white, aged look of the head overall, I think they did a pretty good job on that as well. And I guess next that would bring us to the hair. Now unfortunately, Billy's hairline here is a little bit pushed back, but I think Trick or Treat Studios did a pretty good job on it. It is all glued on, so if you wanted to remove it and replace it, you could, but personally, I think the hair here is fine. If you want to brush it, style it any way you please, you definitely can do that. They did use nice quality hair on this piece. And I guess that just leaves us with the rest of the outfit. What we have here is just a pretty basic tuxedo, really not a whole lot to mention, just black fabric, red bow tie, he's got his little pocket squares here. I guess really a more notable thing would be the shoes. He's got some Wizard of Oz ruby red slippers here, all nice and sparkly. And with that being said, I guess that brings us to the part of the video where I read you all the excerpt directly from the Trick or Treat Studios website, so let's go ahead and have a look. Here we have the Saw Billy Puppet Prop for $249.99. Sculpted by Mark Anthony, Trick or Treat Studios is proud to present the officially licensed Saw Billy Puppet Prop. This amazing prop was sculpted by the absolute king of replica movie props and owner of the Scary Closet. Every detail of the screen-used Billy Puppet is represented in this prop, including his signature suit with attached bow tie, red shoe detail, and white gloves. This prop has a latex foam-filled head and a wireframe enclosed in a polyfoam body, making him fully posable. Approximately 41 inches from head to toe and around 20 inches wide at the elbow. So there you have it. He is a little bit smaller than the Pennywise doll, and I believe this should be accurate to the real screen-used props. I also want to say weight-wise, he is far less heavy than Pennywise was. I would say maybe around a third the weight, just guessing. At the price point of $250, if you're just interested in a basic Billy Puppet Saw prop, I think that this guy definitely works fine. However, since producing this piece, Trick or Treat Studios has started offering a more deluxe version, which actually has sound and motion, and honestly, those look a lot better than this one. I do think that the price point being double the price of this one is actually worth it for the newer version. Don't get me wrong, I still think this one is cool, but it's definitely been eclipsed by the newer version Trick or Treat Studios has. But if you're interested in picking one of these up yourself, you can get them directly from Trick or Treat Studios or one of the many retailers that carries their products. And with that being said, I think that about does it for today's video. I love you all, thank you for watching, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, stay tuned for some more coming very soon, and I'll see you all next time.